Greetings everyone, here's one of the procedural terrain generators that I was working on. So the main idea is that I'm going to try and have a hover tank type of game where you sort of hover over this terrain and shoot at your enemies. And then it should also be able to deform the terrain. But this kind of terrain generator is quite flexible. It can generate all kinds of terrain. As you can see, the rocks, if I shall call them that, look quite different over here than over there, and also you have some sort of caves. Yes. So if we keep exploring this, we can find all kinds of cool things, like this is, an island, but you can actually travel below the island, down here for example. By the way, everything is still one color. I haven't implemented textures or multiple colors yet. Everything is the same material. And also, if you look carefully, the balls actually cast a shadow on the environment. And also, yeah, as you can see, the shadow is reflected on the ball itself. Anyway, what I wanted to show you guys is this. As you can see here, there's some sort of geometrical type structures. Yeah, you can see it more clearly here. But then you can see it most clearly over here, see? It's like some sort of civilization, an alien civilization, let's say, build this stuff. Who knows, maybe this is their sacred lands or something. I haven't really thought about the storyline for the game yet. And then yeah, over here you have some sort of floating rocks. Here's some more nice geometry. Perhaps let's try to fly through it. And then let's go up. Okay, so yeah, I suppose a hover tank wouldn't really be able to fight over here. But perhaps I'll add some sort of temporary flying capability. So like let's say for example you are shooting a guy through these canyons over here, pew, pew, and then you notice that your battle is taking you over here, and then suddenly, whoops, you are falling. Maybe you'll be able to hover your way back as long as you do it quickly. Maybe I'll add something like fuel, something like that. Yeah, let's continue exploring this terrain. So over here there is some kind of I think if I go deeper you'll see what I mean. There's some sort of like shells. Oh, don't know what this is. Melted, like something melted, but over here it starts to look like seashells or some sort of sea life. Oh, that actually looks like a head. Yeah, but I suppose all of this is kind of not the sort of place where you want to fight with a hover tank. This is also pretty weird. It's like cubes made of many little cubes. Anyway, but I think, yeah, this is a sort of terrain where I want to do the hover tanks. I mean, where I want the hover tanks to fight. Yeah, maybe you should just avoid, be careful not to fall into the cave. So you just be shooting over here, destroying the terrain, using your jump packs to try and avoid the holes. Yeah, I think that would be pretty fun. Okay, so next let's talk about performance, and yeah, let's start with performance. So I'm using a GTX 970, which is actually, according to the Steam hardware survey, it's one of the oldest cards. I mean, one of the cards that the fewest people have. Of course, it's quite an old card. It's about 8 years old. So, but yeah, I can get well 30 to 60 FPS depending on the location. Um, I think I'm gonna make this card a sort of minimum requirement for the game, and it's still possible to speed up a bit more. Um, the easiest way, of course, would be to cut things like, reduce the shadows, for example. But the ideal way would be to improve the algorithms, and I'm trying to do that, but it's getting difficult. Oh, this is cool. Nice cliff face. So, yeah, and then another thing I want to show you guys is that this terrain is actually, it can be modified. It's not a pre-built map. It's again a procedural terrain, and it's also nice. Yeah, this actually would be a pretty cool place to fight. So what I'm saying is that see, I have a bunch of parameters over here. I can just change the terrain dynamically online, and let's try a few others. Let's see. Ooh, too much. Okay, there we go. If I do this, then I think there will be some sort of smoother version of this. It's actually kind of similar to what we saw earlier, but I think there's some sort of smoother, sandy version somewhere this way if I keep traveling. Yeah, see, it's starting to get smoother. Perhaps this is like ice on the alien world. Anyway, let's try some other parameters. Ooh, ooh, this is nice. That's a nice effect. Yeah, this would actually be pretty cool to fight on. I don't know how well you can hover on this. Maybe you can fall in the holes all the time. But maybe if you're like, yeah, it can also be like a skill challenge that you're really good with the jump pack. You can keep avoiding the holes. Oh, it's actually a pretty high fall. Could fall quite deep. Anyway, yeah. So there's actually what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of parameters that I could play with, and so there's a lot of map variations that are possible. Um, and yeah, where should the players play? Should they have this whole island available to them? By the way, it's sort of an island. Um, or should I restrict it to some specific areas? That was pretty cool. So yeah, that's also a point of debate. Perhaps if you guys can leave a comment, that will help me decide what I should do with this. And I might not even use this procedural terrain generator. I might use a different algorithm. So yeah, there's still a lot undecided. But yeah, I should probably focus on actually um, modifying the terrain. Like if I shoot, I want to create a hole in this terrain. And then I should probably add some colors. Yeah, and then lastly, try and improve the performance some more if I can. Yeah, so I think it's starting to look much better than I did in, especially in the first episode. It was, uh, I think you guys would have thought like, what does this guy mean by I'm making a game? All I see is one block, and maybe you can make some holes in the block. But yeah, it's starting to look much more promising. I think much more convincing. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep releasing videos like this. So if you guys are interested in this kind of content, then please subscribe. Anyway, and now I'm gonna fly out of this world. It's a little bit slow. Oh, it's a nice sort of hole, trench type thing. Yeah, maybe I should. Yeah, if I back up, I can go faster. but it's not really fun here because there's so many mountains. But anyway, that's that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and see you guys next time. Bye.